This was the happiest day of my life. Here I was, me, Fred Walters, a close acquaintance of the three most radical and celebrated painters of their generation, the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood. It wasn't always like this. There was a time when they weren't considered fashionable. They weren't considered popular. They weren't even considered. But in spite of their faults, of which there were some, I always believed in them. Their enigmatic leader, Dante Gabriel Rossetti, a man whose full potential was often on the losing side in its battle with that other interest of the committed artist, the pursuit of beauty. John Millais, an artist whose modesty was the equal of his genius. And William Holman Hunt, he was a bit complicated. But of course, an artist is nothing at all without a subject, a model, a muse. First, they would have to find her.
Yes, no, I like this very much. This is exactly the sort of thing.
Just too slightly. This one. Here. No.
Rosalind can be woman or man. She has the most cheerful disposition.
I think the problem with your girls is that they are too beautiful. We're looking for something more ordinary. There's
a hunchback, works out of Marylebone Station. She's very much on the ordinary side.
Mr. Rossetti, Hunt, Millais, I think that I found exactly what you're looking for.
What are you talking about?
I took the liberty of searching on your behalf for the perfect young lady.
We barely know you. Shut up and answer me this. Is she a redhead?
Hair like molten lava.
You should be ashamed. 4 young men and not a hard prick between you.
Give the lady tinge on it.
She has to be both ordinary and extraordinary.
I think you fancies all of those things.
When I was at the academy, I had the pick of models, but now I can never seem to hang on to them.
Vanity. All the promise of better money always drives them away.
Which brothel did she say she worked at?
I didn't. She works down there, at the back of a hat shop.
Have you any idea how important it is for us to find the perfect model, and you drag us to meet a hat shop girl?
I promise you, you have to see her.
They like the idea of modelling, but when it comes to posing, they simper like spaniels in heat.
Would have thought you found that quality very much to your depraved taste, Gabriel. Wow, this is a complete waste of time.
So please stay. They must finish soon.
What's in this for you?
I just want to help you in your mission.
I believe in your values, to sympathise with what is true and serious and heartfelt in previous art.
Oh, you like that, do you? I wrote that, you know.
I know, Mr. Rossetti. I know.
And Gabriel. Call me Gabriel. Fred, you're right. She is truly spectacular.
She's perfect for my Sylvia. I'll speak to her straight away.
Not you, Maniac.
Why ever not?
Here's a clue. Your nickname is Maniac. Maniac?
That alludes to my almost insane work ethic.
If that's what you want to believe.
Doesn't it?
Okay, here's our strategy. She should be approached by one who carries no sexual threat whatsoever. Well, go on, Fred. Ask if she will model for us.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. This is going to sound strange.
It already does.
These gentlemen here are the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood.
Really? The Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood?
So you have heard of them?
No.
No.
They're looking for models, just like you.
Does my sister look like the kind of girl who would be a model?
They mean to paint girls living ordinary lives, which makes their beauty all the more striking.
I'm sorry. I'm afraid that my mother would never allow it.
She has my personal guarantee that your virtue and your reputation will remain intact throughout any professional engagement.
I'm not sure my mother would be reassured by a young man's promises.
What about the word of my mother?
Your mother? What did you say that for, Mr. Waters?
I thought it was inspired, Fred.
Well, I hope a shop girl doesn't need my mother to vouch for my reputation.
The entire world knows you're no threat to the ladies, John.
Where does an artist start if he is to change the world? At the centre of that world, the Royal Academy. Hunt and Millet had already been accepted for its exhibition. Adoration and celebration of their radical style was sure to follow.
Don't believe this.
What a regal cheek! Who did this? Hey! Who committed this intolerable outrage? Keep your voice down. Hold on.
Something troubling you, gentlemen?
We were just a little concerned about the position of our paintings.
What appears to be the problem?
The problem isn't so much that you put the work of these two men of genius so far above the line that you would need a ladder to see them. It is what you put on the line. On the line, Mr. Stone. I mean, look at this. I've seen stains on a chamber pot with more artistic merit.
If you don't like the paintings of Mr. Hunt and Mr. Millet hanging above the line, then there is a solution.
Good. Glad to hear it.
We'll take them down altogether. Mr. Cooper, please bring a ladder.
Let's not be too hasty here, Mr. Stone.
Mr. Millet, when you came to us as an 11-year-old, I could see you were destined for great things.
Thank you.
But by aligning yourself with a bunch of pavement artists, you aroused the Academy's utter disgust.
The Academy's utter disgust is what gets us all out of bed in the morning.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Where is the naturalism? Where is the life? The flesh, the blood, the nature?
Mr. Rossetti, I have one piece of advice to you. Learn to paint. Mr. Hunt and Mr. Millet, I have one piece of advice for you. Lose the idiot.
We are a brotherhood, Mr. Stone. We will never desert each other. You just remember who we are. You just remember who we are.
Isn't that...
It's Ruskin. Mr. Ruskin, it's an honor to meet you. I have read all your books. Not always to the end, admittedly, but, well, you know, enough to get the gist. Thank you. I give you John Millet, child prodigy, on the verge of puberty. William Hellman Hunt, painter, pugilist, and myself. Dante Gabriel Rossetti. Artist, poet, half Italian, half mad.
I enjoyed your Isabella, Mr. Millet.
Oh. Well, thank you.
Why didn't you offer him the painting right there and then?
I sold it 12 months ago, before I joined the Brotherhood, and people still bought my work.
So sell it again. I once sold a sketch 14 times over and it's still in my wardrobe.
But I hardly think I can go and remove it from my buyer's wall.
If John Ruskin says he likes your painting, then you offer him that painting. And then the next one, and the one after that, and then ours. John Ruskin says yes, and the world of art follows.
That's a perfect plan, Gabriel. Spoiled by one tiny detail, we've yet to secure the services of the hat shop stunner.
Our good friend Fred here is going to take his mother to vouch for us.
We can hardly split her 3 ways, can we?
I think you'll find I have the first pick of all red hairs.
I have the exact painting I need her for. I'm sure my need is greater.
But our eyes met. There was an instant connection.
Your eyes meet with those of every woman, Gabriel. That hardly gives you any claim on her. She models for me.
I need an angel.
She models for me.
Bread, mutton stew, and a little leftover cheese, perhaps.
Landlord says to stand you no more credit.
Oh, tell him I'm paid him a portrait.
You did him one already, and he said the arms were all wrong.
I think his sense of perspective is much compromised by gin. Would you consider sitting for me?
Me? A model? Don't think so.
If I could just capture that. The pulse that flutters just there.
Mutton stew, was it?
And a little cheese, if the mice can spare it.
Mr. Rossetti, where is my painting?
I'm working day and night, sir, but...
You either pay me back the money you owe me, or deliver the picture in 1 week's time.
Yes, of course, of course. There we go. Smoothed it over with my patron. Got myself a model. I'll have a masterpiece in 3 weeks.
A masterpiece with no gallery to hang in?
Oh, it will have a gallery. Don't you worry about that, Johnny boy.
Where? No gallery will take us as long as the Academy hates us.
But we have John Ruskin.
Barely acknowledged us.
We've met. How can he possibly refuse an invitation to see more of our work?
Well, how do you propose to get him to do that?
We invite him to our exhibition.
What exhibition?
Perhaps I could help to publicise such an exhibition. I do have 1 or 2 well-connected friends.
There we are. Fred is going to advertise it, so that is settled.
So, such an exhibition does not really exist unless Mr. Ruskin becomes involved. But he has not yet agreed to his involvement.
That, my friend, is the beauty of the plan.
Isn't it all a trifle dishonest?
Oh, a man cannot eat scruples, Johnny boy. A man cannot eat scruples.
This is it. This is Ruskin's house. It's this one, definitely. Come on.
Oh, come on, Johnny.
I've got it. God's sake, Johnny, try and make a little less noise. It's the gin. It's the gin that's making the noise, not me.
Now all we need is a model.
To capture a man of Ruskin's moral certainty and judgment, the Brotherhood needed to secure a model. For that, they needed me. And I needed my mother.
And you say you're in the cutlery trade, Mr. Siddle?
Oh, that is correct, madam. Finest Sheffield steel. That is one of my spoons you are using right now.
I'm sure Mrs. Walters has no interest in spoons, Mr. Siddle.
Although by rights I should not be in trade at all. Much like yourself, a propertied gentleman. The rightful owner of Hope Hall in Yorkshire, which you may well have heard of. When the ancestral home is duly restored to its rightful owner, you and I will be very much on an equal footing.
Perhaps we could curtail our ramblings amongst the dead and get down to the business of the living. And the making of a living?
I can assure you there will be no impropriety.
And I can promise you that Fred is a good young man who would not lead Miss Siddle into any circumstances that would compromise her reputation.
Father, the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood are very famous indeed within artistic circles.
Particularly their own circle, all three of them.
Mr. Holman Hunt is in fact...
Why are you determined to ruin my chances of a better life?
A better life? An artist model's little more than a whore or an actress.
I walk 5 miles to work and back every day to rip my nails and finger ends in a dark room making hats I will never be able to afford for ladies who should know better.
And of course we will pay a shilling an hour.
A shilling?
Well, I can't say yes immediately.
We'd be delighted to take you up on your offer. Lizzie has always had a very keen interest in the arts.
Miss Siddle was delighted to be whisked from her old life into this new and glamorous world. Little realizing that before art succeeds, it must first suffer. And no one suffered with quite the determination of William Holman Hunt.
Safe maniac, you could have warned us. Miss Siddle, please avert your gaze.
Unlike Gabriel, we're not all slaves to our lust, Fred.
I loved your painting of the Eve of St. Agnes.
You've acquainted yourself with my work. It's a good start. Now, your costume is behind the screen, and there's a hair tie for you to tie your hair back. Are you ready? You said.
Feeling a little self-conscious.
Believe me, nothing we haven't seen before. Now, if you would like to kneel down here, Miss Siddle.
Perhaps this cushion will make you more comfortable, Miss Siddle. And the position is quite respectable given its historical accuracy.
St. Sylvia's a character from Shakespeare. How exactly is it historically accurate?
Miss Siddle, you have been posing for me now for less than 2 minutes. And in that time, you have spoken more than my last model spoke. In 6 months?
And what was she wearing?
She wasn't. It was a nude study.
Well, I can understand how that might inhibit the easy flow of conversation.
I've been evicted. Unbelievable. A misunderstanding over rent. And the brutal landlord has sent me packing. It's enough to make a man run off and join the Chartists.
Evicted? My God, what are you going to do?
Nothing I can do. No tin. I'll have to move back in here.
No.
Oh, I'll leave the armadillo at my mother's.
No. You remember Miss Siddle, my new model?
Our new model?
She's posing for my new piece based on the last scene of The Two Gentlemen of Verona.
I always like Shakespeare's final scenes. Mainly because it means it's nearly over.
It's a tale of morality overcoming sexual urgings.
A tale so frequent in art, but so rare in real life, hey, Miss Siddle?
Please, Gabriel.
You do realize it is your destiny to sit for me, don't you?
A shop girl can't afford to believe in destiny, Mr. Rossetti.
There were many advantages to hanging out with the glamour boys, but perhaps the greatest advantage of all was that sometimes a girl wasn't impressed by all that wit and bluster, and might even find herself wanting the quiet one in the corner, the steady type. And I was as steady as they came.
Mr. Waters, I can only thank you. Miss Siddle is a wonderful discovery. I have great plans for her.
She has a high, stately neck, does she not? And a lower lip sucked in as if it strives to kiss itself.
Sucked in.
I mean, to raise her up from her humble beginnings, to educate her in the arts, and then, eventually, to make her my wife.
Your wife?
If there is anything more attractive than a working woman with potential, then God is yet to show it to me.
I couldn't help seeing her potential peeping out through the gap where her fastenings didn't meet.
Do you think Hunt meant it about marrying Lizzie? Because, well, if the truth be known, I'm rather sweet on her myself.
So the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood, the group of radical young painters who announce themselves by thrusting notes through letterboxes in the middle of the night.
I apologize if we were a little overzealous.
But there's no time to waste. The revolution is needed, which is why you must attend our exhibition, Mr. Ruskin.
I'm sorry. If I attended every exhibition to which I was invited, I'd go insane.
Mr. Waters, no more interfering.
No. Let him go.
The young artists of England should go to nature in all singleness of heart and walk with her laboriously and trustingly, having no other thought but how best to penetrate her meaning, rejecting nothing, selecting nothing, and scorning nothing. Your words, sir?
I'm aware they're my words.
You could be describing these daring young men, sir. You could be describing these very artists. Men who are committed, like you, to what is true and real and heartfelt.
Very well, then. I shall visit your studio and see your work in progress, and if it lives up to your manifesto, I shall attend your exhibition. And if it does not, will you please leave me alone?
It's a promise, sir.
Although the work will be good, sir.
Very well. Next week, then? Friday?
That would be perfect, sir.
Fred, I thought you were little more than a hanger-on. We need to make you an honorary brother immediately.
Really sweetly done, Fred. I could kiss you. I don't know why you arranged it so soon. You know, it takes me a week to sharpen a pencil.
Mr. Rossetti? Mr. Rossetti!
Thank you.
If you don't object, I was going to make a few notes, because I meant to record your views from posterity.
I've yet to find the perfect model. Hence the lack of face and hair on the Virgin Mary.
And the lack of paint. Perhaps you're afraid of oils.
No. I am, in fact, working in oils on something brand new. It's about a fallen woman.
Well, there's possibly no greater subject than the fallen woman.
Exactly. In the foreground, a merchant will be gripping his wife's hand thus.
This is very, well, it's extraordinary. There's a beauty of extreme minuteness and precision here. John.
Thank you. I was worried it might be a little too real.
Beauty deprived of its proper foils and adjuncts will cease to be enjoyed as beauty.
Wasn't I saying that very thing just this morning?
I must have missed that.
The model.
She's new. Her name is Miss Siddle. I'm painting her next.
Common feature, sluttish type.
Sluttish?
Do you think so?
Surely that's the composition.
Pipe down, Fred.
So you think Sylvia's face is unsuitable, then?
Well, you've painted a woman displaying sexual appetite, and that is never attractive. Thank you.
So we'll see you at our exhibition, then, Mr. Ruskin.
I'm sorry. Perhaps another time.
My parents have already paid for the hall.
How will I break this to them? We shall just have to cancel it. And press on with our ambitions.
And what will we eat? Oh, don't tell me. Ambition on toast with a side dish of potential. We have to go ahead with the exhibition and just hope that somebody likes us.
Indeed you do.
The only point of putting it on was so that we could say Ruskin had appeared in public to support us.
You have to go ahead with the exhibition because I have placed an article on your behalf in the Weekly Dispatch, page 3. Unfortunately, I do mention that Ruskin will be there in support, but...
You did what?
Well, you all seem so confident he would like your work.
As you were that Miss Siddle would be the perfect model.
As she will be. I also wrote that in the article.
I'm going to find a new model. I'm going to paint over Miss Siddle's face. And I'm going to beg Ruskin to give us a second chance.
Very sensible, maniac.
Do Miss Siddle's feelings count for nothing?
For a word of praise from Ruskin, I'd paint over my mother's face.
What kind of revolutionary are you?
A very hungry one. Now, try a shot of the best condolence for the collapse of ideals.
Drink disagrees with me.
Me too. But I enjoy the argument.
At least assure me that you will break the news to Miss Siddle with some regard for her feelings.
What do you take me for? I'll handle it with gentleness and sensitivity.
The husband should fulfill his marital duty to his wife, and likewise the wife to her husband. The wife's body does not belong to her alone, but also to her husband.
Are you ill? You seem to be babbling.
In the same way, the husband's body does not belong to him alone, but also to his wife. 1 Corinthians 7, verses 3 to 5.
Just as I thought, your sickness is returning.
In which case God is sick, John. Would you argue with God?
How dare you bring God into this?
He's the only one you consider good enough to listen to.
Just cover yourself up.
We have been married for 5 years. And in that time you have kissed my shoulder 4 times, cupped my breast in your hand twice, and once nuzzled my neck and whimpered like a dog.
I thought you understood that this marriage was based on mutual love, mutual respect, and companionship.
I need more.
No woman needs more. You go quite against nature when you demand it.
Please, tell me what I can do to help you overcome your fear. Please tell me what it is you dream about.
I am.
You are what? You are what, my love?
I am very, very disappointed in you.
Are you buying? I'm in no mood for time wasters.
I want to save you.
Perhaps you could try, lovey. Perhaps you could try.
Thought we could make an early start today.
You've got to be Lizzie. I'm right, aren't I? Recognised you straight away from the painting, so he must know what he's doing then, eh? When he first told me he only wanted to paint me, I thought, well, I've never heard it called that before. But he's been as good as his word. Sketch, sketch, sketch all night. Bit of Bible reading, not as much as half a penny's groat.
Mr. Hunt?
Miss Siddle, I'm afraid there's a problem with your look. Just for this particular work.
Problem that wasn't apparent until Mr. Ruskin viewed it.
No, but once he pointed it out.
Am I permitted to know the nature of this problem?
Ah, Fred.
Miss Siddle, I tried to
I
intercept
think perhaps it would be courteous to offer me some explanation.
Mr. Ruskin considered you too slattish, love.
Is this true?
I don't think he phrased himself quite so crudely, Miss Siddle, no.
So, why did you tell me you did then?
Fred, is this true? What do you think sounds better, Fred? Failed model or disgraced shop girl?
You're not disgraced.
That's not what my former employer just told me. She said I'd be a whore within the month.
I will not let that happen. You're beautiful, and I will see to it that your beauty is shared with the world.
And now a whore is sitting in my place for a hunt because I am considered too sluttish.
That's a stroke of luck. You are a lifesaver. Could you spare the tin for a hot drink? No nourishment has passed my lips for days.
It would be my pleasure.
Oh, excellent. A large pot of coffee and perhaps some bread and cheese, Violet? Oh, and if you have the apple pie that was on yesterday, that would be perfection. Now, Miss Siddle, shouldn't you be inspiring Hunt's salvation?
He thinks I'm too whore-like.
He didn't actually say that.
Please dispense with my services.
Good.
I'm leaving. Thank you for ruining my life, Mr. Walters.
The reason I said good was because I have wanted you to sit for me since I first laid eyes on you.
Please do not humiliate me.
I know you're the one. I know you are going to change everything. Look at you. I mean, look at you. Your high, stately neck and your lower lip sucked in as if it strives to kiss itself. And that hair, like dazzling copper which shimmers with luster as you wave it down.
And I think you're mocking me.
Then why would I want you to sit for me?
In my naivety, I felt almost flattered that Rossetti had chosen my words to make the woman I loved feel better about herself. Perhaps next time I would summon up the courage to say what I really felt.
Lift your chin up a bit. Remember, you are a woman who is afraid, who is about to be ravished, who is an object of lust.
What if I just popped a breast out or something? Nothing sordid.
No. Lead us not into temptation.
I meant just the one, just to make it clear what was on offer.
I think that will be perfectly clear without you exposing yourself, Miss Miller. You know, Miss Miller, I think this is completely wrong for you.
Well, it was nice while it lasted.
No, not the modelling. The subject matter. I think we should be painting something that tells me something of you. Of your life.
Who on earth rented this out to you?
The owners are away, so I'm looking after it for them.
And they wanted you to stay here.
Well, I'm sure they would if they knew me. What do you think, Miss Siddle?
I'm not sure you're paying me for my opinion.
So much the better. I can rely on your honesty.
None of them are complete.
And that is your only response.
So you were looking to be flattered?
Don't attack flattery. Sometimes it's the only friend I have.
I think too many people have flattered you for too long. I think all this talk of your brilliant potential has turned your head and held you back.
Ah, but you do at least think I have potential.
You and every rag and bone man in London.
If you were this direct in the hat shop, it's a wonder you ever sell so much as a ribbon.
I'm always truthful. I'm sorry if you're not used to that.
So tell me the truth. Why did you decide to sit for me?
Because it seems I have no choice. Because my reputation is so damaged already by my brief modelling career that no respectable establishment would take me on.
And because you feel at home.
What do you mean?
No, I saw your eyes the first time Fred Walters spoke to you inside that wretched hat shop. I saw the excitement there that your life might be going somewhere different. Somewhere new. I am correct, though, aren't I? Reject the world before it rejects you, Miss Siddle. Embrace a new way of being. That way you'll always have the upper hand. And an empty belly.
I will sit for you on one condition.
Which is?
You give me drawing lessons.
Drawing lessons.
Well, if I'm to become part of your world, then at least arm me with the skills to make a living should you reject me as brutally as Hunt.
That isn't going to happen, Miss Siddle. No, I assure you that isn't going to happen.
No, I think this is a much more fitting composition for you. A troubling combination of temptation spurned and temptation accepted.
Temptation?
Yes. Temptation. There will also be a young shepherd. He will be neglecting his flock of sheep, which will be behind you here, and he will have his muscular arm over you like so.
May I be frank with you, Auntie?
Seems to me you're really anything else.
You're a virgin, aren't you?
I hardly think that's relevant.
How can you paint temptation without knowing what's on the other side?
I know what it is to be tempted. Okay, that is good enough.
But you don't know what it's like to give in. What are you thinking about?
Oh, Jesus Christ!
He'll forgive you, Auntie. That's what he does.
Can't you see? He doesn't look angry. He just looks disappointed.
I think that's just the way you've painted him.
This is it. My parents have agreed to pay the rent for a full week. They said it's the last time they'll subsidise me.
What do you think, Maniac?
I'm sorry, I'm feeling a little spent.
Thank you, Maniac.
For what?
For your stupidity in letting a stunner like Miss Siddle slip through your hands. It was only the want of a model that was holding me back.
And your want of application.
Oh, but look. Look. She transforms my style.
It's true, Gabriel. This looks like the work of an artist.
I know. Are you saying everything I did before was shit?
I think Johnny means the improvement is truly remarkable.
Well, you're right. She is the key that unlocks the treasure of my talent.
Without her, I'm just a dusty old box with a stubborn lock. Nothing will ever be the same again.
Not much is true.
Now, it's down to you two to persuade Ruskin's wife to bring John Ruskin to our exhibition.
What?
It's an idea of towering genius. You two sweet whelps are going to call on Mrs. Ruskin. You will charm her, and you will persuade her to persuade her husband to attend.
If the future really matters.
Oh, you've not lost another model, have you?
No. Miss Annie Miller will present an even greater challenge than Miss Siddle. I mean, to transform her, to educate her, to give her lessons in manners and literacy.
Maybe cleanliness, too, if it's the Annie Miller I'm thinking of.
Don't you speak of her like that! Don't you use her name like that.
Oh, my God. You've launched her, haven't you? Oh, you have, haven't you?
A maniac would no more succumb to temptation than Christ in the wilderness.
Christ in the wilderness never met Annie Miller, as far as I can recall. The New Testament might have been a very different book if he had.
I really thought better of you than that, William.
No. I'm very ashamed.
Oh, hey. Don't worry about it. I'm sure you'll get better with practice.
I'm ashamed of the depravity, not the mechanics.
Oh. When you say depravity, would you care to elaborate?
Pity's sake, maniac, what's got into you?
I don't think what's got into him is the issue! Oh.
We have in fact met once before, Mrs. Ruskin.
Really?
Yes, at Ewell Castle. I had rather boldly asked to be introduced to you, but you had made it quite clear that I bored you.
A terrible assumption, for which I now apologise.
Oh, no, you were quite right. I was such a precocious little upstart.
I cannot imagine you being anything other than charming.
Try telling that to the boys at the academy. They used to hang me over the balcony by my ankles.
How taxing that must have been for you. And what about you, Mr. Walters?
I was never, to my knowledge, dangled over a balcony.
I mean, have we also met before?
I doubt that. But it would be a great pleasure if we could meet again. At our exhibition, if you were to accompany Mr. Ruskin.
I will try to persuade Mr. Ruskin to attend.
And you must come too, Mrs. Ruskin. We absolutely insist. Even if you were to come alone. We are very unconventional and most fond of ladies coming alone.
Fred, try not to be too modern. You will shock Mrs. Ruskin.
I shall insist that Mr. Ruskin attends. We have not socialised since we returned from Venice, and I sense we are becoming rather dull.
Oh, I'm sure that could never be the case.
either be falling at our feet or spitting in our eyes. But what they won't be doing is ignoring us. The Brotherhood.
The Brotherhood.
The Brotherhood. The Brotherhood.
Weak, puerile, unintelligent.
Great art is precisely that which never was, Mr. Stapp. Any sign of Ruskin?
Not yet. I was wondering if you could give me some advice. I've grown quite sweet on a certain young lady.
What did his wife say exactly?
I was wondering if it would be a good idea to court Miss Siddle. Sorry, Johnny.
It's a disaster. You'll have to excuse me, Fred. Johnny is crying again.
Hello, love. Got your face on a painting in the end, then? That's me. That is love.
Where's Ruskin? I don't know. You did give them the right date, didn't you, Johnny boy?
It's different for you. You've never been popular. People used to love me.
This day can get no worse. It just did. Charles Dickens just walked in.
He hates us.
Oh, perfect. It's Chadwick. Talk to me.
What?
Say something.
Think about
Mr. Rossetti.
Chadwick.
I've come for the money I am owed.
Gabriel, he's here.
Which of these young men persuaded you to attend?
John Millay, a very sweet young man.
Indeed he is. Well, I'm encouraged by your renewed interest in the arts, most encouraged.
Why didn't you just paint something like this for me?
I didn't really think it was what you had in mind. What with the complete absence of dogs and field.
Oh, who needs fields when you got a model of this magnitude, Mr. Rossetti?
I want to spend the rest of my life drawing just you.
I'll take this in exchange for the money I advanced you, then we'll call it straight.
Well, unfortunately, it's worth rather more now that Ruskin has given it a seal of approval.
Ruskin? Really?
Mm.
Well, what would you think was a reasonable price?
Ooh. £30?
30?
Yeah, no, you're probably right. £50, maybe?
Well, at that price, maybe I should just check if Mr. Ruskin's opinion of you is as high as you say it is, eh?
Behold, the carpenter's shop. Behold, a hideous, wry-necked, blubbering, red-headed boy who appears to have received a poke in the hand.
The attempt to associate the Holy Family with the meanest of details of the carpenter's shop is disgusting. Pictorial blasphemy.
And that snuffy old woman seems to have mistaken that shop for the tobacconist's next door.
Looks like your price just went back down to £5, Mr. Rossetti.
Of course, Wordsworth mocked Turner.
Mr. Ruskin?
Wordsworth said of Turner, it looks as though the painter had indulged in raw liver until he was unwell, and a room full of critics like yourself stood and laughed at Turner. So when I hear the laughter of critics, I'm compelled to pay attention.
Surely you aren't comparing these young men to Turner?
I think, in spite of their unfortunate name, the pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood may, as they gain experience, lay in our England the foundation of a school of art nobler than the world has seen for 300 years. I'm perfectly sincere in these opinions. I should be writing a letter to the Times to that effect in the morning. Good day.
Did you see Dickens' face?
Much taller than I imagined him to be.
No.
Hey, what about
Fred?
Stan here as well?
Well,
all in all, I think we can safely say that we've had a very good day indeed.
So the Brotherhood.
The Brotherhood! The Brotherhood!
An exhibition that began with no art, no hall, and no patrons had delivered critical acclaim, money, and Ruskin for a champion. Millet, Rossetti, and Hunt had conjured success from the illusion of success. And in doing this, they had not just transformed their own lives, but Annie's and Lizzie's, and I hoped mine. All of us were embarking on a journey with Rossetti at the helm, and at that moment in time, none of us wanted to be anywhere else.
Now we move on with our mission. We persuade Ruskin to buy our work.
Oh, that should be easy. We'll all paint a masterpiece.
The difference between a good artist and a bad artist is Lizzie Siddle.
Isn't this just like Rossetti's idea for the painting?
What do you think of my wife, John? Do you think she would make a good model?
So it isn't a job for a respectable woman?
No, it isn't.
Idiots! Lunatics!
Mr. Sidlow and Lizzie's been overcome! He'd as good as killed my daughter out of my house and never come here again.
And Desperate Romantics continues next Tuesday at 9. Next tonight, the Children of Earth unite in Torchwood.